Today, we are going to talk about insecurity. Okay. So, insecurity is a lack of safety or fear of not being safe. This could mean safety in anything, right? Any area where there is uncertainty or some type of lack of confidence, when you are not sure about something, when you have self doubt, when you lack protection, or when you are in danger of being open to an attack, it is creating some form of insecurity. Okay. Insecurity is also instability, and being unstable removes your security mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Okay. Insecurity is also instability, and being unstable removes that feeling of safety. It removes that assurance, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So most insecurities are rooted in fear, right? Fear pops up anytime you are unsure of something, when you lack information or knowledge of what is happening or what will happen, right? That's when fear wants to show up. Lack of understanding or information affects your safety and your level of fear. Okay. Lack of understanding or lack of information affects your safety and the level of fear. Okay. Also, we know anxieties and all of that stuff come right along with it. Okay. Truth is the enemy to fear. Fear hates the truth, right? Fear hates to be exposed for what it really is. The truth will send fear out immediately. So you may fear, you may worry, you may be anxious because you don't have an understanding about something, right? Fear of rejection, fear of judgment, and fear of abandonment are big roots to insecurity. Okay. Fear of rejection, fear of judgment, and fear of abandonment are big roots to insecurities. Okay. Fear of rejection, that's the fear of not getting what you want. And that causes you to place unrealistic expectation on other people in order to get what you want, right? Fear of rejection also causes you to be consistently people pleasing, right? Doing everything that someone else wants because you fear not getting what you want. Okay, that's fear of rejection. You fear losing something, right, from someone. It could be something you had before, or just something that you want, something you never had. That's still fear of rejection. With rejection, with fear of rejection, there's also some level of self-rejection, right? That must be dealt with. There's something that you are rejecting about yourself that causes you to fear rejection from someone else, right? So whether that was caused by something that began in childhood or maybe occurrences that are happening in your life now, deal with the self-rejection first, okay? The things that you are rejecting yourself. Okay. When you begin to accept yourself, someone else not accepting certain parts of you, it will begin to affect you less. Okay. So most of the time, that rejection that you get from other people, it matters so much because it's the same area that you are rejecting yourself in. Okay. You need to accept things that are not favorable to you, right? That isn't what you wanted, especially if it involves the actions of someone else. You cannot control somebody else no matter how much you want to. You can only control yourself and where you put yourself, right? Other people's actions, that's in their control. If you decide to be around them, you will be affected by their actions if it's toward you, right? So a lot of times we put ourselves in situations where we know we're going to be rejected, right? Um, and it could be a habit, a very bad negative habit. Okay, so you can only control you and your responses. You cannot control what someone else do and how they feel. Okay, so a lot of that fear of rejection can be eliminated by just accepting that. Okay, this happened. This happened because I put myself in this situation, or this happened because of someone else. It's not my fault. Um, I need to accept myself. I need to understand that this rejection that I'm getting from another person is only highlighting the rejection that I have in myself, like being aware of that, right? Another fear that is a root in insecurity is fear of judgment or criticism. So you have the fear of rejection, right? And then you have the fear of judgment or criticism, meaning you don't want people to judge what you feel that you are incapable of, right? This causes you to imitate other people, to take on their feelings instead of expressing your own, and even not expressing yourself, period, right? This is how you begin to pick up characteristics of other people without recognizing it, right? Become comfortable with criticism. Criticism is disapproval of something or someone based on perceived faults or mistakes, right? It's based on perceived faults or mistakes. It is a perception thing, which means that it is an opinion, right? But those opinions can also be facts, okay? So don't always discount critics. Sometimes the things that they're saying are things that you need to take into consideration. So if you train yourself to not take criticism or judgment so personally, right? Because it's only a perception, it's not a fact, but some of those perceptions can be true, right? So we know that fear of rejection is based on wants, you're not getting what you want. And then fear of judgment or criticism is based on perceptions. It's not facts. It could be facts, but it's not facts, okay? The last fear I'm going to talk about that is the root of insecurities is fear of abandonment, right? Fear of losing something that was given to you. And it's specific to a person or an experience, right? Fear of that loss is abandonment, okay? And you can feel abandoned. I mean, you might say, oh, nobody ever left me, nobody ever abandoned me, but you can feel abandoned because of emotional neglect, right? You can feel abandoned because you were inconsistently cared for. You can feel abandoned because you're not being supported, right? These are other ways that that fear of abandonment can come on, okay? And this can cause controlling behaviors, same as with the fear of rejection. You start people pleasing, right? This is a controlling behavior because you are pleasing people and minimizing your feelings and yourself to control how they perceive you so that they won't reject you, okay? So abandonment is about exits. Abandonment is about loss and exits, right? You have to release those thoughts and feelings that are connected to always having something and it's not in your control, okay? If it's here, it's meant to be here. If it's not here, then it can't be here or it won't be here. And you have to accept that fact. That's the truth. Express how you feel about it. So we're not saying don't talk about how you feel about it. Accept the truth, express how you feel about it, and accept it, right? And this process of walking through the fear of abandonment, do not abandon yourself, right? A lot of ways we respond is because it's a mirror, okay? So you might have that fear of abandonment because you've been neglecting yourself, okay? It's not so much that someone else was, but you know deep within you're neglecting yourself, okay? A lot of these fears cause flattery, okay? You overpraise people or you begin to worship things and objects and events and experiences to mask your insecurities, right? So that you and other people don't see your incapabilities and you don't see your limitations, right? You begin to imitate the people that you flatter. You begin to buy the things you worship because of insecurities, right? You're not safe. You don't feel safe. Fear responses can only mimic authenticity because it cannot produce the truth, right? It doesn't come from your true character. Our true character is not rooted in fear, okay? It's rooted in peace, right? So this is something that messes with your view of perfection. You are perfect when you are living up to the image that your creator, the Almighty God, designed for you at the level that you're at that moment. And remember, when we talked about perfection, it's being perfect where you are. God takes that into account. You being a perfect 5-year-old is not the same as you being a perfect 25-year-old, right? Because you've grown, hopefully. Okay. But even if there were things that cause you not to grow, God still takes into account where you are, and you are to uphold his standard for where you are. Okay, so it's not based on somebody else's opinion of where you should be, not even your opinion of where you should be. It's according to God's standard of perfection for you. Okay, the truth will set you free when you receive it. Sometimes we say, oh, the truth will set you free, but you're not receiving the truth, right? The truth of who you are, the truth of who you were created to be. So when you fall in love with the real you, you will have less of those fears because those opinions of others will only be opinions, right? They won't be things you take personally as facts. Perfect love casts out fear. I know you all have heard that before. Perfect love casts out fear. But the perfection of love is tainted by fear. So you have to not allow the fear and let the perfection of love come forth. Okay. Don't exchange the love for your true self for fear of what people would think about you being you. Okay. People that cannot or will not love who they really are, they have major insecurity issues because they don't feel safe expressing their true character. Okay. When you see certain fear responses like pride, ego, or arrogance, you know that there is an insecurity in that area. Okay. Insecure people will boast on themselves when they fear that somebody else is better than them. Okay. Insecure people are arrogant because they fear what you think about them. They're also egotistical because they fear not being valued. So you have to know the difference between being a confident person that has overcome those fears and one who covers up insecurities by responding in fear. Okay. So we sometimes we think people are confident, but really they are hiding their insecurities with the arrogance, right? You can only build confidence in this area by practicing it, being confident in yourself, loving yourself before ever interacting with anybody else, right? That way, whatever they say or do does not have such an influential impact on you. And this is very important as parents, that we build our children up. Okay. We don't uh, allow them to have these fear responses. And we see it early on, but you can correct it. It's not something that you can continue to allow to go on until they're adults and then they have to try to undo all of those things, right? Being more focused on how other people perceive you, if you're more focused on what other people think, right, it will cause you to continue to struggle with your insecurities. Okay. When you are around insecure people and you want to help them, stop serving their insecurities and build their confidence. And we all do this. We all are guilty of doing this, right? We will serve their insecurities versus building their confidence. We need to make them feel safe by allowing them to be true to themselves instead of making them comfortable with those other false versions of themselves, right? For example, if somebody is insecure about their looks, we have to stop praising them only when they have on makeup, right? Instead of only praising them when they have on makeup, we need to build their confidence by also praising them in their natural state, okay? Because if you only praise them when they're built up or dressed up, that's feeding that insecurity. It's not building their confidence. So every time they come around you, they feel like they have to dress up, they have to be made up and all of that, right? And that's just an example of not serving the insecurities, but building their confidence. Building their confidence is better. Okay. Insecurity makes you impulsive, right? Insecurity, when you don't feel safe, when you don't feel confident, you start just doing stuff, right? It removes your ability to discipline yourself by affecting your willpower, right? Your willpower gives you the ability to control, restrain, and resist those impulses, right? You have this barrier that will stop you right before you say the wrong thing, right before you do the wrong thing, right? Insecurity causes impulsive spending, impulsive eating, impulsive speaking, right? And other addictive behaviors, right? Because of insecurities. Okay. Discipline allows you to control these impulses, but you must remove those roots of fear. Okay. You have to find safety in your truth. The things you fear, find comfort in the truth. Stop accepting other versions of the truth, right? Become disciplined and stable in your actions and reactions. Okay? Build your responses on truth, your true feelings. Stop convincing yourself that you feel things that you don't feel. That's insecurity showing up. Okay? Trying to make somebody else feel better about how they made you feel because you don't want to be rejected, abandoned, or judged. Right? Also, not accepting how you made somebody feel. That's insecurity showing up as pride. Right? Find safety, stability, discipline, and the truth. That's when you will become more secure in your mind, body, soul, and spirit. Find safety, stability, discipline, and the truth, right? Because the safety of your identity is dependent upon the awareness of who you are, knowing who you are, okay? Staying aware of yourself, your true self, keeps you secure. So the opposite of insecure is secure, it's safe, it's protected, right? That's the opposite of insecure. So safe doesn't always mean happy and comfortable. Being safe doesn't always mean happy or comfortable. Safe also doesn't mean you will always get your way. Okay? It also doesn't mean that you will always get your way. Safe means you are secure and protected. Okay? Sometimes we get happy about the wrong things, the things that put us in danger, right? So you might have what you want, but there's no security in it. There's no safety in it. Okay? You want to be safe in all areas. You want to be secure in all areas, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, right? All of it. Okay? And so a lot of times we've placed our safety into the hands of insufficient people and have walked into places that are incapable of keeping us safe, right? And by places, I mean even places within ourselves. Okay? And this mostly happens when we are trying to find a way to cope with things that we don't feel safe with. Okay? Either it was done in ignorance or it was some type of automatic survival response. Okay? So start looking at your influences, the things and people you submit yourself to in order to avoid dealing with your insecurities, right? Some of us have made people and places our safe space, but it's not safe. Okay? It's just comfortable because we've gotten used to not being safe. Okay? When you submit to other things, this is where you've placed your trust. And a lot of times, we don't think about this when we're saying we trust God, right? In areas. But whatever you're submitting yourself to, that's where you've placed your trust. If you're submitting yourself to God, okay, you trust him, right? But if the first thing that you think about or the first person that you call on when something happens, that's where you placed your trust, okay? Those are the things that you've given power to. That's your safe place, right? It's where you go to hide. And whatever you subject yourself to, that's what you are controlled by. That's why it's imperative that we submit to God, right? If the people around you don't intend to be a helper or a companion for you, you're not safe with them. If the people around you do not intend to be a helper or a companion for you, you're not safe with them. If they have no desire to discover the real you, right? They rather keep around that representative that shows up or that alternate version of you. You're not safe with them. If you always have to be somebody else around these people, you're not safe with them. Okay. And sometimes we feel that the more people that are around us, the more secure we are. But if it's the wrong people, you're actually in even more danger, right? If the influence in your life are not establishing you, you're not safe. If the influences in your life is not establishing you, if it's not causing you to be set on a firm foundation, you're not safe. That means that foundation can give way at any time, right? If your dreams are showing you defenseless, hopeless, or weak, because your dreams give you insight of what's actually going on, right? If your dreams are showing you in this way, you're not safe. That means there's some area in your life that you need to pay attention to, okay? To be secure physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially, you need to be safe and secure in these areas. It will take discipline. It will take being true to yourself. It will take some digging in order to discover the areas of your fears, because those insecurities are rooted in fears, right? You have to get to the root of those fears so that you can process those points of rejection and abandonment, okay? Accept them, release yourself and others, right? And then continue on that path of being restored, okay? So I want you all to just think about that. Make sure that you understand what your insecurities are, what fears they're rooted in, deal with those different fears, accept them head on. And we know that the opposite of being insecure is security and safety. And so that concludes our session for today. And so I want to end with this statement for this volume is this feeling is temporary. It is just a process. Face your disappointments in yourself and in others. Some stuff is your fault. It was a bad decision, but you can make it better. You can change the outcome. Your life is more than the sum of your hard experiences, your pain, and your failures. You can still climb that mountain or command it to move. You will live again. Your happiness is not determined by what is happening now. It is determined by what will happen later. What you do with this moment is imperative to you understanding why you needed to go through it, why it had to happen to you. And after that, you will see that it happened for you. You all go and be blessed. Deal with those different fears, fear of rejection, which is about what you want to happen, fear of judgment, which is about perception, and fear of abandonment, which is about exits. Okay, all three of those affect how we feel, if we feel safe, if we feel secure. So deal with those fears, and help others deal with their fears. And remember, do not serve the insecurities, build the confidence. Okay.